Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me in Edinburgh. It's a beautiful day here, a beautiful day for a drive, and that's lucky because I got a long drive ahead of me. So early start this morning. In fact, I'll show you a quick montage of my trip. Here we go. So a really early start to arrive into Edinburgh on a beautiful day. And it's a beautiful day for a drive, which is lucky because no surprise to anyone who's a regular viewer of the channel, I'm here to pick up a new car, a car I've wanted for a long time. And well, I got a good deal, so I had to come all the way up from Cornwall up here to pick it up. Got about a 10-hour drive home. In fact, I'm going home today to Bristol, which is about 8 hours of driving, doing a bit of work in Bristol, and then carrying on tomorrow back home to Cornwall, which would be 10 hours in total. So we've got a lovely drive ahead of us. But first of all, let's go get on the tram and go meet Graham, who's selling me the car, pick a car up, and then we'll get on our way home. So welcome. Let's go get my Ford Focus RS Mk3. Fast forward a couple of hours and here I am, sat in my very own nitrous blue Ford Focus RS Mk3. Wow, I love it. I've only driven it, well, just under a mile so far. In fact, Graham was kind enough to pick me up from Edinburgh Airport and drive me back here to Dunfermline, where he lives, to collect the car. So he lives less than a mile away from here. I've only driven it to this Costa Coffee. I got myself a coffee. I think it's about 520 miles home today, back to Cornwall, but I'm actually going back to Bristol, I think, as I said earlier. Going back to Bristol where I've got to do some work. So back to Bristol, about 403 miles, about 6.5 hours in this lovely car, learning about it as I go. When I get home in a couple of days' time in this video, I will talk you right through all of the spec of this car, but it's a really high specification Focus RS. It's got the nitrous blue kind of signature paintwork, which I wanted. The 19-inch forged black alloy wheels. It's got the Recaro shell seats, which are really comfortable and lovely. Done 52,243 miles. So this car's not one of the super low mile RSs, but I don't want that. Regular viewers of the channel will know I like to drive my cars, enjoy them, use them. And so I intend to do that with this Focus RS. I doubt I'll do any more than a couple of thousand miles in it a year though. So give it a couple of years, it probably will be a low mileage car. Anyway, we got a long way to drive. So let's start up my Ford Focus RS Mk3. So that's me out of the 30 and 40 mile an hour roads and onto the motorway. Up until now, I say I've done just under 5 miles in this car, and up until now it really has been very kind of domestic roads. So looking forward to seeing what this Ford Focus is all about. I've never actually driven a Ford Focus RS Mk3. I always thought I'd save it for when I owned one, and well, here we are, I own one, which is quite incredible. So nice long drive for me to be able to learn a little bit more, a lot more about this car. Currently just driving down towards Edinburgh. I think that we will cross the big bridge here across the River Forth in a moment. Let me see. Yes, I think here it comes. So we'll cross over the bridge, quite spectacular, and then, well, open this car up a little bit and see what it's all about. Because after all, this is meant to be the best hot hatch ever made. And, well, I'm super excited to find out, and you're going to find out with me as we take this drive back. Here's the bridge ahead of us, really pretty bridge. So we got a long way to go, and I'm sure by the time I get to Bristol, I'll be intimately acquainted with this car. In fact, this stereo keeps telling me, or this Sync 3, I think keeps saying caution to me. I don't really understand why. Lots and lots to learn about this car, because of course, the vast majority of my cars, in fact, all of my cars, are more than 10 years old. What's the newest car at the moment? Probably the Focus ST, which is 2007. So there you go. We're talking 15 years old. Lots of mod cons on this car there. I don't really care for, but there you go. Did it again. No, I did. Oh, speed cameras. Okay, 50 mile an hour. Got it. So we've crossed over the bridge now. I'll show you some footage of that. I'm sure I've already shown you on the video. So we've crossed over the bridge now, and when we join the M8, is it, I think, from here, going down towards Glasgow, when we join the M8, should be able to open this car up a little bit and start to see how it goes. So we're doing 40 miles an hour. We've just passed Edinburgh, and I think it's time, for the first time, to see what this 2.3 litre, 345 horsepower, all-wheel drive car can do. I'm excited. I'm a bit nervous. Let's find out. Here we go. Oh, wow! That's up to 70. Okay. God, I'm looking forward to getting to know this car. Looking forward to getting home and giving it a clean. Graham kept it really clean, and that's lovely. But I'm looking forward to giving it a good clean myself. Right, out onto the M8, southbound, heading for Glasgow. I'll pick this up again, maybe when we're around Glasgow, certainly when we cross over into England. I'll see you in a minute. Bye. Now, as for the Focus RS, well, it's driving really, really well. All of the miles that I've done so far have been motorway miles. This car sat comfortably at 70 miles an hour. I've used the cruise control a little bit, and the car just drives really nicely. You can use this thing every day. I know that a lot of the reviews say this is quite a refined car when it wants to be, and a hooligan when it doesn't want to, when you start to push the drive options button down there, which I haven't done yet. But for these first 100 miles, driving along 70 miles an hour down this motorway and A roads, well, it really has been brilliant, faultless, in fact. I'm almost not seeing some of the excitement, but then it's the type of miles that I'm doing. So hopefully we'll get on some twisties, or at least get some nice pullaways when we go into services and things like that in a moment. So next stop for me, I'll try and stop on the Scotland-England border for a couple of photographs, but then it's driving right down through England on the way to Bristol. May stop off somewhere on the way. We'll see if traffic permits, time permits, but it really continues to be a lovely day. And this car, looking down the mirrors, looking in the mirrors of this car, down the side of it, this paint looks brilliant. This really is a beautiful colour, and absolutely the only colour to buy one of these in my view. They do look good in grey though, they do look good in white, but for me, it was nitrous blue all the way. Anyway, I'll see you again in a moment. Well, Graham's fuel got us right the way past the Lake District, but the fuel light came on, so I just put in, 78 quid's worth, 43 litres here at the services. This must have quite a small tank. I think it's only a 50 litre tank in these RSs. Anyway, I think that's smaller than the Mark II actually. I thought that was over 60. Anyway, now let's carry on. Nice and fully fueled. Oh, let's turn that off a minute. But yeah, nice and fully fueled. And the best bit about coming off the motorway in this car is that you get to go back on the motorway. So let's go. Let these cars go out a bit in front of us. There we go. Beat this lorry. But yes, we get to go back out on the motorway. So second gear, let's leave a little bit of a gap. See what this RS can do. Yeah, it's really quick. It's not doing the fuel economy any good, but my goodness, it's a lot of fun. We're about 10 minutes away from Caffeine and Machine. And the reason I'm going there is because, well, I've loved sitting inside here and enjoying the aesthetics of the cockpit of this car. I particularly love these shell seats. It was a real must for me when I bought one of these. So I've really enjoyed sitting in here, but I quite fancy sitting outside with a cup of coffee looking at this car. So I'm going to try and find a nice place to park at Caffeine and Machine. I'll take some photographs of the car and well, just look at it and look at this beautiful paintwork with those lovely black wheels. My thoughts on the car then? Well, I've done, what, 350 miles now in just over 6 hours. And the car is driven absolutely brilliantly. There's no argument at all that you could really daily a Focus RS Mk3. One thing, on certain road surfaces at certain speeds, I find myself kind of doing 1,000 adjustments to keep the car straight. I imagine that's because the steering is quite agile and all of that. But then right now it's absolutely fine. So I found that a couple of times on this drive. But other than that, it's been brilliant. People said that these seats are actually quite uncomfortable, these shell seats, and to option the standard RS seats. But I've not found them uncomfortable at all. As I say, just over 6 hours worth of driving, and I really do feel great. So no complaints from me about the seats. Mind you, I probably wouldn't have complained about them anyway because I love the way that they look, but it's fortunate that I found them comfortable. That flat front of the car as well, very flat fronted. I think there's been a real massacre of bugs there out the front. I'll take a photograph of that. In fact, I'll show it now. That's me parked at Caffeine and Machine showing you the splat bugs. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. I was a little concerned about the performance. I didn't, because I've been driving it on the motorway all of this way. Yeah, it's powerful and you get a sense of that, but I just felt that maybe this car wasn't quite as exciting as I expected it to be to drive. I mean, my Mark 1 is really quite an exciting car to drive. In fact, it almost scares you a little bit, and I expected this to be a bit the same. Sure, some people told me that it was quite a refined hot hatch, and it has been refined all the way down here, and I started to think to myself, well, maybe it's not quite got the thrill that I was looking for from a Mark 3. But then I went down the M6 toll road and got to the toll booth, so I whacked the car in sport. I wish I'd filmed it really. I just pulled away and gave it a little bit of stick as I pulled away. Not too much because there are speed limits there, but gave it a bit of stick, and I tell you what, this thing took off. The pops and bangs in sports mode were brilliant. It made it really entertaining, and it transformed my view that I'd started to form about this car. So what's clear to me is this car can be sensible when it needs to be, which is great, and it can be lively when it needs to be as well. And that comes down to really, I suppose, whacking it in that sport button, which is what it's for, and pinning it on a few B roads or across Dartmoor. So we'll certainly do that in this video. Anyway, about 9 miles now from Caffeine and Machine, so I'll film the arrival. We'll probably end this bit of the video here. So the next time you see me will be in a few seconds for you, but it will be a few days for me at home with the car, having a proper look around my Ford Focus RS Mk3. But for now, we've made it to Caffeine and Machine and really enjoyed it. This car, I bought it intending for it to hang around for quite a while. Whether it's a keeper forever or not, I don't know. But this car offers lots and lots, and I'm really excited and I feel really privileged to have it. Look forward to catching up with you in a couple of days or a couple of seconds for you. I will see you for some photographs at Caffeine and Machine, and then a little bit later. Thanks. Well, I said it would be a few days and it's actually been a couple of months, but here I am with the Focus back in Cornwall. Now, Caffeine Machine back in April, it was brilliant. Turns out that you actually have to book to go to Caffeine Machine usually because it's become so popular and so busy, but I was really fortunate. I turned up around an hour before a big German car meet, so I was able to park up, have a decent look around, grab a coffee and see some of the cars that were there. There were a few Ferraris and some other Exotica, and to my amazement, whilst I was looking over the supercars, their owners were checking out and talking about the Focus. I heard one say, "That's a nice bit of kit," which is praise indeed. Anyway, what are my thoughts about the Ford Focus RS Mk3? Well, I absolutely adore it. I love this car. It is fantastic. When I bought the car, I intended to use it fairly sparingly because I've got a number of other cars, so this would kind of fall in with them. I put it on a limited 3,000 mileage kind of insurance as a result, and I've already done 2,000 miles in it. I'm so addicted to this car. This car can do absolutely everything you need it to. It can be sensible, comfortable, economical one moment, and it can be a thrilling, adrenaline-stirring hyper hatch the next. Yeah, the suspension is a little bit hard, but that doesn't bother me. I love this thing. I love the way it drives. I love the way it looks, particularly in this nitrous blue paint. It looks amazing here in the sun. I hope it's coming out on the camera. And it fits in really nicely with my other Fords. Here they are. I'll dot them around the screen now. It fits in really nicely with the other Fords. But it is so wildly different to my Ford Focus RS Mk1. The Mk1 is modified and makes around 300 brake horsepower, and from Ford, originally, they made around 220. The Mk1 is an animal. When you're driving fast, it feels out of control, it feels dangerous, it's so exciting. However, with this, well, it's so controlled that I suppose that could translate to it being less exciting, but it's not. It's just exciting in a completely different way, a more controlled, a more stable way. This car is much faster than the RS Mk1, and this car makes me a much better driver. Now, if you're a fan of your 80s turbo lag, that kind of aggressive all or nothing power, then the RS Mk1, the RS Turbo Escorts, the Ford Cosworths are definitely your thing. But if you want to drive really fast and reduce the odds of you dying, get one of these. And I'm really fortunate, I have both. And I love my Ford Focus RS Mk1. That car is not being sold. But I also love this for very different reasons. Now, I said earlier in the video that I would run through the trim or the options that this car has, and I've kind of already done that a little bit earlier, kind of on and off in the video. But this car is in the signature nitrous blue. It has the 19-inch forged black alloy wheels and the painted brake calipers. Inside the car, it has the stunning Recaro Shell seats. So no heated seats, as it was not an option with the Shell Recaros. It has the premium Sony speaker option, so 10 speakers, which includes a subwoofer, electric sunroof, and it has the luxury pack, which includes power fold mirrors, rear parking sensors, cruise control, keyless start, and privacy glass. Also, being a late 2016 car, my RS has the upgraded Sync 3 system with Apple Play, DAB radio, navigation, and a reverse camera. In fact, the only options that my RS doesn't have is the active city stop, the door edge protectors, and possibly a heated steering wheel. I'm not sure if it was an option on this year Focus RS. If you know, let me know in the comments below. Now, my sons are fast becoming Ford and MG Rover fans. There's no real surprise there. And my youngest son, well, he plays lots of Forza on his Xbox, and he spec'd a nitrous blue Focus RS with black wheels in his game, and he's been pining for one for some time. So I didn't tell the boys that I bought this car. I parked it outside of my mum's house after I collected it, and I surprised the boys with it. It was great fun. Problem is, he now thinks that he owns the RS and can have it when he turns 18. We'll see about that, Lawrence. So, since buying the car, well, we've taken it to a few shows, but in the main, we've just been enjoying this car on nice days, taking it out across Dartmoor, taking it out across Bodmin Moor, and just enjoying it whenever the weather permits, just like it has done today. It really is a fantastic car. I have plans to take all three of my hot Ford Focuses, I suppose that's how you say it, Ford Focuses, to a local car show very soon, so do stay tuned for the channel for that. I promise you that I'll feature it, and let's take this on a road trip at some point in the future. For now though, I'm just glad that it's home with me here in Cornwall. That's joined my collection, and I promise it will feature lots more about this car and the other Fords and the wider collection over the coming days, weeks, months and years. So please do stay tuned and subscribe for all of that. There's loads more Ford content to come. For now though, I'm going to keep enjoying this one. Thank you so much for joining me on my collection of my Ford Focus RS Mk3. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again here on the channel very soon. Bye for now. Bye-bye.